In the teen class on Wednesday nights, we've been studying the book of First Peter, and I think it's interesting to read something written by Peter, who we know in the Gospels was someone who is so fully invested in Christ, and sometimes maybe a little overzealous. You know, this is the guy who tried to cut off a man's head and cut off his ears when they tried to arrest Jesus. He's the guy that jumped out of the boat and walked to Jesus, and he's also the guy that denied Jesus 3 times before his crucifixion. He's a passionate guy, and you can almost see that in his writing here in First Peter. In chapter 1, he's talking about this hope that we have and this grace that we have in Jesus. And in verse 13, he starts by saying this: "Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus." A couple weeks ago here at Highland, I talked about this idea of hope and what it meant, and how it's more of a hope as opposed to a hopelessness, but it's something you live for. It's your foundation. It's what gets you going. That's what hope is. Not a crossing your fingers and hoping something happens, but it's the thing that is your hope. It's more of the thing that keeps you moving, that gives you hope to face the next day. And in this verse, the way I kind of described it to our teenagers is it's kind of like a hype song. When I was in high school, I had a song that I would listen to before every wrestling match that I had. I would listen to this song, and it would prepare my mind for what I was about to do. And people have this kind of, whether it's a phrase or something that they do. LeBron comes in and he has his pregame ritual where he throws powder up into the air, and different people do different things to prepare their mind for something, whether it's sports or something intellectual. There are different things you can do to prepare your mind. And in this verse, some translations say, gird up the loins of your mind. Therefore, preparing your minds, or girding up the loins of your mind for action, and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. And so this idea of girding up your loins, in the ancient world, people didn't wear jeans or straight leg pants. They had what we might consider a dress that they wore now. But people had to work. There were still people who worked in the fields or went to battle. And the way you did that was you would do something called girding up your loins. And you would take the material and kind of run it around your legs in a way that basically turns what you're wearing into shorts, something that you're ready for action with. So it says, gird up the loins of your mind. In other words, prepare your mind for action. Get your mind ready for what's about to happen. And being sober-minded and clear-minded, thinking through things clearly. With a clear mind that's ready for action, set your hope. What drives you? Set what you get out of bed for in the morning on the grace that would be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus. And grace is a big word. We all understand what grace is. That's what we are supposed to focus on. This grace that will be fully given to us when we see Jesus Christ again. We're supposed to get our minds set with a clear mind and full understanding of what's about to happen. Set our way of being on that grace. In other words, we have to get our mind right. Hear this hype song over and over again, that our life has to be in the context of Jesus. It has to be in the context of what he did. And what we're going to read through the rest of this book, through First Peter, is that being a Christian is not always easy. And he goes on in the verses following this, and he calls us to be holy or set apart, just like our Father is holy, just like Jesus is holy. We're supposed to follow in that line and be like him. And what that's going to do, being holy, means set apart. And what that's going to do is it's going to set us apart from the world we live in, from the culture, from your job, from your school, from your sports teams or your social clubs. It's going to make you feel different and separated. And sometimes it's going to lead to persecution. In fact, if you're doing it right, it's going to lead to persecution. But if your head's in the right spot, if you've girded up the loins of your mind, if you're ready to go, you have your life in the context of Jesus, And being separated out from culture or being persecuted by the government or culture or whatever it is doesn't bother us anymore, because we're following Christ. And being close to him and being a part of him and his church is all that matters to us, because we've set our mind right. So this should be our hype song. This should be our theme song, the thing that gets us ready to go. Setting our mind, preparing our mind, and being sober-minded, setting our hope, who we are, fully on the grace that will be brought to us at the revelation of Jesus Christ.